Welcome to CXO Unplugged. I'm Phil Dobby, and with me is Alan Bowman, who is the Vice President Asia Pacific for the Entertainment and Devices Division of Microsoft, which looks after, amongst other things, Xbox. And a bit of a launch as well. I mean, we're getting closer and closer towards Christmas, and you're launching the latest variation on Xbox for Australia, downloading movies.
Yes. Well, it's a very exciting time for the industry right now, and launches are an important part of the cycle, and this week we're launching some new products and new applications for the Xbox. So we think it's a really exciting time for the business.
Right. You've been involved in a few product launches. I mean, Windows, going back a while now, it seems like just yesterday though, doesn't it? Windows 95, which was a huge launch for Microsoft.
It was.
And very successful.
Yeah.
So what do you think are the key ingredients for a successful product launch?
Well, I think when I think back to Windows 95, which is casting back quite a long time now, I mean, the company was really behind that. That was an initiative right across the whole organisation, and so for all parts of the business, whether it was the sales organisation or the service organisation or the relationship with the equipment manufacturers, the PC manufacturers, everyone was involved in that. And I think that's kind of the key. Even if now and today where we're doing products like Xbox, the key for us was really about integrating all the various functional components into the launch.
Yeah.
I was part of the launch of the original Xbox here in 2001, and the key for that was to get our customers involved, the retailers involved. You get the organisation behind that, the media involved, and you just capture everyone's imagination. So it's all about really integrating all of the various pieces, and I think that's probably, from a management point of view, one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
Because you've got to get everyone lined up. And have a consistent view of what you're trying to do. And
not easy to do too regularly as well. Do you think that's where some businesses fall apart? They have too many product launches too often, and they don't get all the ducks in a row like you clearly have.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point. I think you've got to have your core launch, which is really either establishing your brand and then establishing the product in the marketplace, capturing the consumers, engaging with the consumer, and really capturing their imagination. And then if you try and engage too often, then people kind of do get a little bit disinterested, and so you've got to time things very carefully, I think is a key part of that. Now, this is really not a new product we're launching this week. It's really about introducing some new additional services and additional products, but if you space that out enough, it gives people something to look forward to when new things come along, and so that's really, I think, a very important part. You just don't want to be washing over people all the time. It's analogous, I think, to the car industry, actually, in a lot of ways. Car companies can't keep introducing new models too frequently, other than the economics of it, but they build up to their new car launches, a bit like what we do, building up to the new game launches or the new service launches that we have. You build momentum up towards those things.
Now, you mentioned the word service a couple of times. I mean, is this really the direction for Microsoft now to start offering ongoing services like movies on demand for Xbox, things that for the business can create a trailing revenue, so it's not just buy once, it's actually subscribe?
Yeah, look, I think a key thing for us, and for a lot of other industries actually, telecommunications, for example, mobile phone operators, having ongoing customer relationship and ongoing customer connection is really an important thing. And so you've got to keep engaged with your customers, and you usually do that through subscription services or continuing to offer new things that you want people to come back. Not necessarily for a large investment, but for ongoing repetitive business. And I think that's a key thing. So you've got to keep things fresh, keep things new, give things that customers are looking for, particularly around movie downloads, for example. What we've really done with Xbox is moving it from being just a game platform where it was predominantly designed by gamers for playing games on, to really having it now as a broad entertainment platform. So you can use it for playing through your music, you can use it for watching movies, you can now use it for downloading movies on demand. And so what we're doing
Twitter
there
and Facebook as well.
Yeah, and so one of the things that really changed for us a couple of years ago was when we introduced the more social aspect of gaming, rather than it be sitting there, one or two of us just playing, which is quite social in itself, but the ability to be able to talk with your friends through the live service, which is really our online offering. It allows people to be able to communicate with one another, they're interacting with each other, it doesn't matter where they're located. And I think that communication element, I'll call it social networking, right? So the social networking part of it has become a really important thing. And so logically, the introduction of things like Facebook and integrating Facebook into Xbox really became an experience where you're moving out of sitting with your PC to actually sitting in front of a large screen, your screen in your living room, where that's kind of your entertainment hub, and you're playing games, you're talking with your friends, you're chatting online, and then you can use Facebook as another communication medium through the Xbox, which I think will really be very interesting for people. I think, given our target audience, and they're really the target audience for Facebook, I think they're going to be pretty excited about that.
So how far do you plan ahead? I mean, it's difficult, isn't it, I think, in this day and age, to really have a clear idea of what the world's going to look like in 5 years' time, because everything moves too quickly. So have you found the sort of the planning horizons have shortened?
Look, I think we tend to work in, say, 3 to 5 year spectrum from a strategy point of view. In the field, in terms of just execute what I say in the field, so the sales organisations around the region tend to be working in say a 1 year time horizon. But that's not really product innovation, that's just really go-to-market innovation. So really, you really can only work in a 6 to 12 months time horizon as you think about what you need to execute in the channel and what you need to execute with retailers. From a product innovation point of view though, it really is like a 3 to 5 year outlook. And so, for example, when we started to think about what was going to be our response to, or what was going to be our innovation around motion control, which was a new kind of concept introduced to video gaming a few years ago. So rather than do something that was me too, what do you actually do to actually redefine that? And so the use of sort of cameras and motion detection and voice detection. Now those technologies came from the core Microsoft laboratories, and it's not something that the Xbox guys innovated, it was actually something that the core Microsoft guys have been doing around voice recognition, facial recognition, those types of technologies, which we've kind of been incubating in the back rooms of Microsoft for many years. But really Xbox then provided the product platform to bring it to life for the consumer.
There's a temptation, isn't there, for a large corporation to basically do all the smart work in the headquarters and then basically have the regions as nothing more than sales outlets to take a product to market. Does Microsoft work like that, or are there feedback loops? Do you feel as though you're involved in the development of the products that you're ultimately selling?
I think that's a great question, and particularly in my region where I'm covering a broad area from Australia through to South Asia, India, China, Korea.
If you look at a chunk of the world.
It is, and you look at all those things, and they're all in different places in terms of their economic position and their growth phase and their populations and their tastes and cultural. I mean, it's so much to think about there. And I think as a company like Microsoft, which we're predominantly an American company, but in subsidiary, over 100 odd subsidiaries around the world, as with sales and marketing organisations around the world, the idea of being able to create a feedback to say what are the things that we really need to do in these markets, which will capture people's attention, drive demand, appear to be be innovative. I mean, in places like Korea is an incredible market where they've got incredible technology adoption, incredible broadband speed. Companies there are really innovating in terms of consumer electronics. And so for us, we need to make sure that we think about what's going on in those markets as we're introducing smartphones, for example. Samsung make great smartphones. People think about other phones today, which are not necessarily using Windows technology, but up in places like Korea, I mean, it's extensively used because the technology's there, and we've been able to do things to really meet customer demand in those markets. So there is a bit of to your question, there is a bit of a feedback loop required where the field communicate and be part of the planning process. A lot of the original ideas and the technical innovation happens in the product groups in the headquarters. Right. But the feedback is really important part of the process.
And do you get involved in that process early on?
Yeah, we do. And I guess my position, I'm fortunate enough to be part of some of those meetings and those decisions and those cycles. But also, people further into the organisation, the product managers and people that really have a good understanding of the products and the customers, they're also very integrated into that feedback process. And I think that's a really important, especially for a big company like Microsoft, I think that's a very important. I mean, we're incredibly diversified in the products that we do, but reality is we're a software company software and services company, and so we need to be able to find ways to share what we see as trends in some of these core markets. Some of the things we do in India, for example, with Windows, may need to be quite different to what we try and do with Windows, say, in Australia or in the US. And so we've got to find a way to be able to, communicate those things and find ways to make it economic for us to sell products in India, because it's going to be different from trying to sell them in Australia, for example.
Final question. I mean, we're at a product launch. Product launches are all about creating that buzz.
Yeah.
And Microsoft seem pretty good at that. How do you maintain that buzz amongst your workforce and keep everyone energized in between those product launches, which can be quite a long time? How do you keep that energy in the workforce and keep everyone enthused and loyal to the company? Because I guess in this day and age, it's hard, isn't it, to buy loyalty from staff?
It's a good question. I think, I've got to ask myself that a few times, but I think, we're a very performance-oriented company, and I think people who work here are motivated by achievement and performance. So in between product launches, it's all about doing the real work, and so and then you get rewarded for that real work. And I think that's an important aspect. It's really been amazing. I mean, I've been with the company nearly 18 years, and so every few years, there's been new things to which engages your imagination and things to do. You never kind of do the same thing over and over again.
Right. So it's that mental stimulation that's keeping
it
people
is.
going.
It really is. And so you get to work with people which are kind of like-minded people and very motivated about performing and achievement. And I think that's a great thing. But there's always a constant stream of new products and new services and new things to talk about. And it's sort of that combination of just the day-to-day achievement and performance coupled with the ability to be able to work with new products. And it's a very competitive market too. And so one of the things that happens in between product launches is that you're constantly looking at your competition and what are the competition doing, and that creates a lot of energy in people to sort of satisfy their sense of achievement and performance, because we're constantly competing in so many product categories. Yeah. We're competing, in the mice and keyboard business, we're competing in the office business, we're kind of competing in, there's competition for Windows, there's competition in the phone market. Yeah. Clearly in the video game business, there's several competitors.
For search.
Competition in the search business, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge thing for us with Bing, just to come into the market with a new search engine is a huge thing. But
so is this a job for life for you then? Are you going to retire from Microsoft?
Oh, I hope to one day. At the moment, I'm really energized, and I just, my wife asks me sometimes, now what are you going to do after Microsoft? And I said, well, I haven't really got that far, so there's always something there that keeps
Buy a
me
holiday
interested.
home.
Maybe I'll do that. Anyway.
Okay.
But,
Alan Bowman, thanks very much for your time today.
It's great to talk to you.